FNATIC are back-to-back world champions. Throughout the entirety of Masters Tokyo, these guys only dropped a single map. But how did they do it? How did they manage to keep such a stranglehold on Tier 1 Valorant? Well, it's games like these. FNATIC are constantly coming up with evolving strategies, and every game they bring something entirely new and never before seen to the table. In Game 2 of the Tokyo Grand Finals, we saw suffocating traps, non-stop action, and jaw-dropping headshots. You need to see this. FNATIC are the undisputed best team in Valorant history, and this is why nobody can dethrone them. So, a big reason why FNATIC is so successful is because they have a strong team of analysts and coaches behind them. These 5 players can't do it on their own. The more help, the merrier. And that's why you need Valorant Tracker. Statistics matter, and these guys are here to help you. Valorant Tracker is a free in-game real-time tracking app for your Valorant stats. You have so much free information at your fingertips. As soon as you hop into Agent Select, you'll know everything you need to know about your teammates. Their previous game results, KD, their rank, what they had for lunch. Oh wait, what? No, not that last one. But you'll be able to choose your team comps based around your team's playstyle. And if you want even more information, you greedy little snake, open up their live match page where you can get an even more accurate read on how your teammates like to play mid-game. Oh, and they've also added all these features for deathmatch too. So if you want to see how you stack up against your competition and an app that'll help you rank up, Valorant Tracker is the way to go. What are you waiting for? It's free. Go download Valorant Tracker using my link in the description below. Thank you, Valorant Tracker, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the breakdown. FNATIC start their pistol strat in a 1-2-2 setup. They have a disgusting trap that all revolves around their Cypher spy cam. Once it spots the defender's stinky feet, they're unleashing their Omen paranoia, and they are going to crunch. Oh, wait a second. What the? Yo, Omen, what are you doing in that smoke? Teets, hush. I'm hiding from a sky flash. Teams love throwing their bird in here as a default, and it won't tag me if I'm in my smoke. Oh, alright, Omen. I dig it. This trap looks pretty solid, and there's a lot of thought behind it. Breach is charged and ready with his fault line, and Raze is ready to dumpster on them with her nade. And as for the rest of their setup, well, most teams don't just run it up B, so FNATIC are playing retake with their Cypher trapwire, and on A, Cypher is anchoring down sight with this trip and his Sky, who's going to flash out of heaven to help him out. When going for an aggressive play like this, it is important that you have protocols for when the attacking team pushes the other parts of the map. Think about it. They'll see you a lot in one area, then in response, they'll take others. Simple. And that's what these trapwires are for. If they go B, we play retake. If they go A, Alphayer gets his and frags out. Perfect pistol plan. And evil geniuses are headed right for this mid trap. They start in a 1-3-1 default. Viper is applying pressure on A with these constantly cycling smokes, Jet is working B main, and these 3 are in for a world full of hurt. The offense start their default with a couple jump spots, and EG slowly start to move up mid. FNATIC spy cam just spots Sky's foot at the bottom of the stairs, so Boaster smokes off B main to deter an instant reaction from anyone in there, and the defense line up their utility.
That's so weird. Okay, I mean, that's not gone well for Boaster, but luckily, Chronicle's absolutely nuts. Ethan desperately doing some chip damage.
FNATIC crossed the beams with their Omen paranoia and fault line. Raze topped it off with their paint shells, but both teams traded out evenly. It's a 3 versus 3, and a lot of players are badly injured. Leo then holds an off-angle in vents, shoots Boostio in the back, and he is out of there. He sends his dog to make sure mid is clear, and it bites Ethan as he makes it onto site. With that tag, FNATIC now know exactly where EG are, and the attackers have finally realized that mid was a straight-up death zone. Jet ended up pushing through B main, and they have B site finally. But at what cost? That trap messed him up bad, and the 2 remaining attackers need to make a play. Jet starts her push into spawn, but with her Sky already taking shots, she's torn. What is she going to do?
Leo flanking back through main. Huge opportunity here to pinch through onto pillar.
Flash for Ethan, that's his only little bit of safety. They still don't know about Demon 1, but he is going to have to do something heroic here. In a 1v3, first's low, that's Chronicle gone, the rest not sitting so low, but just above.
FNATIC are starting in a 4-1 setup. They don't have that great of weapons, so by grouping them all up into one part of the map, they can overwhelm the attackers and find potential upgrades. Also, they haven't fought for B main yet, so this is a good mix-up. And EG are walking right into them. They have 3 players ready to fight for the space, but are they expecting 4 defenders to be contesting this one rectangle? The utility battle starts immediately. EG throws out their boombot, but FNATIC counters with an Omen smoke. The Roomba takes contact, so EG activate a gravity well and combine it with their paint shells. But FNATIC answer back with a fault line, their own paranoia, and a raise nade. Both teams are going blow for blow, but EG have seen enough. They recognize that a lot of FNATIC members are here, so they book it back into mid. Without wasting any time, they activate their mail smoke and send a bird to clear out vents. But FNATIC have the read. They aren't just sitting around. All of their B main players have sprinted out and have moved into heaven. They recognize that they've secured B main and expect EG to respond by taking mid control. So once this mail smoke fades, they're going into a mid-round retake. Another Omen smoke goes out. Raze and Sky release their drones and breach Aftershock's vents to clear out the Raze. But Raze crouches up into a little meatball and dodges the blast. But Durka knows that somebody is still in there, so he calls for Leo to flash. He swings.
Just misses the aftershock a little too high.
Oh,
But Jawgemo takes down Durka, and Demon 1 peeks off his contact to take out Boaster. After all of this chaos, we end up in a 3 versus 5, and EG's A players have used all of this noise to their advantage. Their job at the start of the round was to just hold space as their team was defaulting. But because there was so much fighting, Viper and Astra have used their lurk smokes to move up and take all of the space that FNATIC wasn't contesting. But there's one problem. This Cypher Cam sees over the Viper lurk smokes, and Alphair is pinging right where he last saw Viper. He's telling his teammates, come here, Viper thinks she has a lurk timing. So Breach and Sky slowly start to rotate over, anticipating the A hit. And EG are getting in position to split A through multiple lanes. The fighting isn't over yet. Chronicle swings out of spawn, takes down Calm, and Leo uses Alphair's cage to leak out of screens and set up on site. EG don't know it yet, but they're about to run into all 3 FNATIC players. Jawgemo creeps forward, but then trades out Chronicle, and it's at this moment that the offense realizes that FNATIC have stacked the site. They saw Breach near B earlier, then he was mid, and now he's on A? Keep in mind, breaches don't just play on their own. They usually have a buddy. So FNATIC has to be on site. EG pivots, heads into vents, and book it to B. Now the 2 A players are sitting there like, darn it, they figured us out. Alphair and Chronicle decide to rotate out, but with the endless amount of spots that EG could possibly be in, pulling off the 2v3 is going to be pretty tough.
needs his own flash for it. Double stack's gonna work out. Yeah, he's got so many targets. They're all gonna make it very...
FNATIC are completely changing up how they're playing. For the first couple rounds, they fought for B main once, mid twice, but now it's time to battle for ramp. They're set up in a 2-3, but Breach has his Rolling Thunder online. EG need to tread carefully. They're positioned in a 1-4 heavy A-side default with Astra watching their back. If they make too much noise, they're going to wake the Warden. But they don't know that. EG explode out of the buy phase with a Guiding Light, Nova Pulse, and Jawgemo flies up ramp. Well, they've done it. And no, not taking ramp control, they poked the sleeping bear.
Problems, I've got a different look for you. Oh, FNATIC is so ready for this. Durka wants to just get into it. He's got one down. Jawgemo go off.
Durka gets revenge on Jawgemo, but Jawgemo gets his own trade from the grave. The odds are evened at 4 apiece, and Boasters move from B to join in on the fun. But now EG are in a tough spot. They don't have a lot of utility left to make a play. I mean, Astra also has a Sheriff, and they're down a Duelist. They thought about heading back into mid to try and create some pressure and bait over rotates, but they turned back. What Boostio did was place a smoke in mid to deny vision from both Vents and Mail. In a perfect world, this should cause the defense to kind of freak out, because the attackers could leak out of either side and have a massive timing. But FNATIC aren't moving. Why? Well, their game plan, like we've seen before, is that as long as Cypher's utility is still up and getting value, there's no need to shift over and rotate. Alphair's cam is spotting Heaven and the B-main runout. He also has 2 cages to ride around in, and Sky is watching vents. Every lane is being covered despite them missing a player. So no matter what EG did in mid, it wasn't going to work. Not until this spy cam got shot. Now EG feel like they've created enough pressure elsewhere and have been cutting noise enough to bait rotates off of A. They decide to re-hit the site and are contacted protecting back up A main. But FNATIC do want some information despite having a full setup, so they smoke A main and send out a Skybird. With this smoke, it isolates ramps, and FNATIC realizes that EG is going for a rehit. Leo activates his Seekers, and Boaster looks at his minimap, sees where the Seekers are headed, and blasts Demon 1 through the smoke. Both entries for EG are down, and they only have one more realistic option: push through A main. Ethan picks up his ramp smoke, throws it in spawn, but FNATIC's ready for this reaction too.
Maybe a little bit more competitive, but Chronicle on the side can advise some time. Gives himself the angle and gives himself the fight. The paranoia sent in is perfect. Ethan goes down, and EG now just being bullied around the map. They can't get past ramp. They can't get past Chronicle.
Evil geniuses keep getting knocked onto ecos, and they need a round to find their footing if they want to way back into this game. They're starting in a 1-3-1 default and want mid control, but they're running right into another one of FNATIC's traps. They're set up in a 2-3, but this Cypher Cam is the trigger to their trap. As soon as anyone steps foot in the vents, Breach is going to rip his fault line, Omen's going to paranoia, and Durka is flying out from underneath rope with a showstopper for the punish. That's a long list. Are EG ready? FNATIC open the round with an Omen one way in B main and a Sky Flash. They're trying to create pressure here to bait EG into moving into mid like we've seen before. But the attackers open with a Cloudburst on market and they pop flash out of it. They smoke off vents at first to isolate Mail, but the duelists walk up mid. Jawgemo lets his boombot go and it clears Mail for Demon 1, but the duelists then split up for total mid dominance. EG knows that their smoke is fading soon, so Ethan sends out his bird and it pops right on time. FNATIC's trigger is now blind, but Alpha Air can't get off it. If he does, he's going to make noise and the gig is up. That's also why he's playing so far back in screens. But as soon as the blind wears off, the cam spots Jawgemo and FNATIC react.
When that deep dig comes through, actually, I've seen this trap before elsewhere.
Jeez.
Not executed correctly this time around. Durka actually pops the showstopper here to try and find something.
Durka accidentally gets stunned, and Jawgemo has gotten away. FNATIC's trap has fallen apart, and Durka was only able to get some chip damage down onto Ethan. And during all the chaos, Demon 1 has walked his way into Mail, and Boaster has no idea.
So it actually does come through a ton of damage onto Ethan.
Demon 1's deep.
The Demon 1 slipped through.
Yeah,
How has that happened?
Way deeper than expected. Isolates Boaster quite cleanly. I don't think.
And he gets away. FNATIC are now down both their smokes and a showstopper, but that's not stopping them from getting proactive. As soon as they lose all of this mid space, Leo backs up to Pillar and lets his Trailblazer loose into B main, while his other three teammates on A push up and try to look for fights. But they've gambled wrong. EG has grouped up outside of B main and are headed that way with their Cosmic Divide. They Nova Pulse the sky, rip their Seekers, and funnel their way in. Leo is then forced to back off and wait for his teammates to rotate. The only issue is that EG are also investing their Viper's Pit into this round. Retaking against this big far cloud is a tall order. I mean, you can't really push through this without throwing your life away. Oh, and that's not all. Jawgemo hasn't left mid, so are FNATIC going to recognize that this Lurk exists?
FNATIC looking to flood here. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
but look
two
at
already
Jawgemo.
inside the pit.
How deep do they check for this guy? As soon as this goes, he can absolutely be the death of them.
Jawgemo gets the backstab, and FNATIC are getting pinched.
So how much more can Jawgemo do? Demon 1's found Leo, so it's all going their way, but he can't quite see these players. Down low on HP. Chronicle can't recover in time.
EG finally have some momentum. They were able to pick up last round too because, well, Boaster didn't buy and Durka got messed up pretty bad. But hey, mistakes happen, especially when you're the best IGL in the world. Everyone messes up, even your favorite players. This round, FNATIC are back and are reverting to their old game plan. Forget the traps. Let's have Cypher play for information on one half of the map with his nerdy setups, while his teammates stay on the move and are always fighting. They're in a 3-1-1 setup, prioritizing B main again. I mean, hey, with it, you get a free orb and have a good idea of where the offense are heading since they can't really go B without this map control. And EG return to their 1-3-1 setup. But they're not wasting any time. As soon as the barrier drops, Sky pops a flash, Race throws her paint shells, and double satchels at vents behind her Astra's gravity well. Chronicle turns and books it back into ropes. But in response, FNATIC have B main. With it, they immediately turn their attention to mid and leave Boaster to jiggle the area for information. Now, EG aren't done either. Demon 1 tells his Sky to dog him up into heaven. Leo is forced to back off, but he tells his Raisin Omen what's going on in there. So they wait a second and combo their paranoia and paint shells to completely flush out the space. FNATIC are not letting EG have an inch. Demon 1 dashes away. Ethan heals him back up to full, and the offense is starting to put the puzzle together. So FNATIC fought heavily for B main, and then Heaven. Maybe we can split A through vents. That's where we can find an opening. Viper moves closer to A main, and all three of EG's mid players group up into vents. But can they break FNATIC's setup?
He's got to know what's coming in.
Chronicle guesses wrong on the rope. Alphair isolates himself off with his cage and takes down Viper.
Horrific DG. He's going to catch Com at the very...
And Boaster is ulted to backside, takes down one of the Heaven players, but he gets traded out from elbow. FNATIC have done great to fend off this A split. It's a 3 versus 3, but Jawgemo can only take one more body shot. But wait, EG still have another win condition. Astra's Lurk. She's been lagging behind on purpose through vents to try and catch a rotator or shoot FNATIC in the back before they start retaking. If the site players stay alive long enough, she'll be able to close out the round. But wait a second, I think Durka knows.
Alpha's one to catch that.
Durka did just double check vents, by the way. He's trying to bait out Boostio. And he's done it! He's gonna catch.
Remember that one round where Viper used her ult and FNATIC cleared out A while EG went B instead? Well, Durka remembered that there was a Lurk laid up mid and it ruined their retake. So this round he knows that a backstab is very possible. He took a few shots in a map, baited out the flank, and has sat down EG's last win condition. Now, the 2 remaining attackers need to step up.
Big round from Ethan here. 6 seconds on the flash, but it's actually Jawgemo to deliver. Needs nothing short than...
EG have had enough. They are sick and tired of FNATIC always having B main control, but not this time. They have 4 players ready to heavily punish any defenders contesting this area. But FNATIC aren't here. They're set up in a 2-3 and are showing the same plan that we've seen before. It's been a minute since we've seen EG fight for ramp control, and there's no way the offense would expect FNATIC to go for the same play again. But the attackers aren't headed this way. So that begs the question, what are they going to do if EG don't run into ramp? Well, I guess we'll see. But EG wastes no time and Skyflash, Suck, and double satchel at B main. And Jawgemo even pokes his head out to sight, chips down Alphair, and he's like, bro, all right, chill, dude, relax. You can have B main. Jesus. This play was so aggressive that Alphair ran all the way back into spawn and got ready to play the retake. But EG were just marking their territory. They want FNATIC to know not to mess with B main. Now they can go back into their mid default and have a much easier time splitting B with this newfound map control. But Durka kind of expects this. He makes his way back into vents, sprays through the smoke a bit, and sends out his boombot. And FNATIC have disassembled their A push. Breach has moved back into spawn, and their protocol is pretty simple. If they go A now, FNATIC are going to hold Heaven and then use their Rolling Thunder to play retake. So if the A main tripwire breaks, they'll move into position. When defending a site, you usually want to have a good setup to hold on to something. This could be Heaven, ramps, or even site itself. Because without these vital areas, retaking the site can be a major pain. But after making noise in vents, Durka leaves. He just wants EG to know that, hey, someone's here, and they use more utility. Now FNATIC gear back up to fight for ramp. Breach comes out into Heaven to get ready to rip his ult, but the dog doesn't spot anybody. So they leave Durka in this strong off angle and decide to leave. With all this information, they know what's coming next. EG are headed for B. It's now all up to Boaster to stall out in Heaven and buy time for these rotates. After breaking the attacker's dog, he smoked off Heaven in such a way that if EG pushes through, there's potential that they run into a ton of crossfires. But I mean, it also gives them more space and allows EG to walk out and prep for their execute. But can Boaster stall out for just a little bit longer?
What's he see? I mean, there's a flash coming his way, something. Paranoia should be excellent. That should catch all 3.
Demon 1 counters the paranoia by diving into his smoke. Leo tries to flood out, but falls. Breach is finally here, and ults out from spawn.
I love that pace change, so they can't then close on the side. They're being held back here. Chronicle trying to close them down. He's got Alpha by side for the time.
He can't get his, and Alphair couldn't get any more. FNATIC side anchors just couldn't stall long enough, and EG dismantled their game plan beautifully. Durka is now forced to save. All game, both teams have been able to buy relatively often, but with last round's loss, EG have a chance to win this one and then knock FNATIC onto a low buy for the last round of the half. If they can bring it back to 6-6 after starting 5-1, that would be huge for their momentum. EG have 4 players towards A, and that's where they intend to end. What they're going to do is all walk behind their Viper Lurk smokes and explode out into their execute. But FNATIC feel like they missed out on the party last round. EG ran it up B main, and they wanted to be there to meet them all the way. They have 3 players ready to fight this time and re-establish B main dominance. opponents. The round starts with them one way in the entrance, popping a sky flash, and then sadness. Their friends aren't here this time. But EG haven't moved yet. They're waiting out to see if FNATIC tries anything aggressive this round. Now FNATIC are like, what the? There's like no one here. What gives? So they send out their Trailblazer from B main, and look at how deep it clears. Market, spawn, everything. It's a ghost town. So the defense think to themselves, I should subscribe to Teets TV and ring the bell. Oh wait, that's not what they said. They said, do you think they could be in heaven? This is because whenever FNATIC have pushed up B main, EG have usually pushed up mid. So Boaster smokes off male just in case, and Leo flashes in heaven just to make sure no one's gotten through. But since Durka is pushed up this far, and Alphair heard Jet updraft earlier, he spots a Skydog and a Boombot, they have the read. It's obvious. A's the play. Now Breach and Cypher both head into screens and get ready to spam off their trap wires. EG activate their Seekers, Raze pushes through heaven, and FNATIC can't do any damage through the spawn smoke. Chronicle tries to aftershock the plant, but it's a smidge too high. But FNATIC now know that it's planned for heaven. They need to retake that area before anything else. Odds are that EG are going to wrap this way later to spam the spike. FNATIC cannot let that happen. Now the defenders rotate through spawn, but Durka is going to rotate through the attacker's spawn, and he's absolutely booking it. Light up Sketchers and everything. But Boostio is in sewer and hears every step.
5 post plant. Oh, look at this positioning. Oh, Boostio got caught out.
Boostio falls asleep holding the angle, but it's okay. The crossfire he set up with his Viper was good enough to get the trade, and this triggers FNATIC's retake. The Seekers get sent out. Boaster heads towards spawn and paranoias all of heaven for Leo to follow his cabbages, and Boaster then smokes A main. Now they have EG in a stranglehold. Because he got blinded, Jet is retreated to lobby with his Viper, Raze and Sky are isolated, and now it's up to FNATIC to finish the job.
One's going to try and pop out.
Oh, Ethan's not got a flash at all. 10 seconds. The turn of the flash is good for Ethan, though. And now the brawl begins. Ethan gets away with his life, but it's a 3v2.
Despite being isolated, Jet tried to play with her teammates and swing through the smoke to trade, but she got sat down. It's a 3 versus 2, but FNATIC don't know where the remaining players are. And Sky's still in heaven since the spike is planted for it, and she wants to deny this potential wrap. But since the spike still has a lot of time left on it, Alphair activates his Neuro Theft, and FNATIC clean up nicely.
Position now noted. Diffuse started. He's got to try and deal with some of these players here. There's so many problems, though. Ethan, this could be everything. It's not going to happen.
FNATIC aren't budging. They fought for B main last round, and they're doing it again. Hey, maybe EG's invite got lost in the mail. Don't worry, Boaster. They'll be at B main this time. There's 4 FNATIC players ready to rock anyone's world outside of B main. And would you look at that? EG's finally showed up, and they also brought 4 people to the party. It's time to boogie. FNATIC bust out their fault line. Sky Flash and Omen and Raze both cross to the other side. And Durka's like, we got guests. Let's go say hi. So Boaster sends out his paranoia, smokes off market, and Durka lobs his paint shells, swings with his dog, and strikes a good deal. 2 for 1. Now, FNATIC are pooped. They've had enough partying. It's time to take a break and get off the dance floor. Boaster one-ways the entrance, and Sky jiggles it for him. And now Viper's like, they're so busy over on B, A's gotta be weak. Cypher probably has that stupid camera up and is playing at spawn or something cringe like I've seen before. So she takes a stroll up A main, but Alphair has changed up his camera, and it sees right over her wall. He tags Viper as she tries to walk through her smokes, and she has no idea that Cypher has been ramp this entire time.
This.
He looks none the wiser. Oh, Alpha.
This kill makes it a 4 versus 2. And since FNATIC saw 4 EG players outside of B main, Alphair sprints through A main and into sewer. With this trapwire also in vents, FNATIC have the 2 remaining attackers in a chokehold, and they decide to re-hit B.
All the FNATIC have Boostio. Catch on. Chronicle not spotted, and will punish for it. Ethan, though. First response.
All game, FNATIC has had the reads and perfect reactions. They simply understand how teams react when certain things happen around the map. And it's a mix of excellent macro, solid set plays, and good on-the-fly reactions that makes FNATIC world champions. And now that I'm thinking about it, if you think these reads are impressive, you need to watch this game here.